This episode of the SmartDumb Podcast has been brought to you in part by Audacity Magazine. Audacity Magazine and Events has been amplifying young professionals and small businesses for the last 5 years. If that describes you, then I invite you to get an Audacity subscription, aka join the Audacity team. You can enjoy benefits that include 2 events a month, whether virtual or in person in Atlanta, bi-weekly power hours that serve as accountability as well as brainstorming sessions, entry into a WhatsApp group chat of fellow entrepreneurs, free shipping on merch, and a free entry into the fetch list, which, yes, is a nod to Mean Girls and no, not a reference that I personally understood. The fetch list is, however, a directory accessible by those who are tapped in with Audacity, which means it can help you find your next customer. Now, I think it's safe to say that 5 years of anything can never be sufficiently covered in one ad. So to learn more, visit audacitymagazine.org. And to inquire about advertising across their different platforms, email audacitymagazineonline@gmail.com. That's Audacity, MAG, online@gmail.com.
Ain't nothing worse than a smart dumb. Hey yo! Hey yo! Hey yo! Hey
So I'd like to welcome everybody to another episode of the SmartDumb Podcast. Surprise to my guests, didn't say nothing about this. This is the season finale. Mainly because this is the end of 2024. So I just figured, I think it's episode 10. But that doesn't really, it's like we just still gonna have whatever conversation we was gonna have. So I'm joined by Ms. Eminem, and we just really connected with each other about exactly a month ago. It was November 21st was the special event. It's crazy. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to let y'all know how we got to be familiar with each other, and then just get to have this conversation and just get to know each other's get to know each other. So let me step back a little bit. Please tell the audience about yourself.
So I am Miss Eminem. In the poetry scene, most people know me as Marty. And I got Eminem from my government name, Margaret. But my nickname is Marty. So I like to be called Miss Eminem on the scene sometimes. I am a poet. I've been doing poetry since I was a young girl, since I fell in love with it in third grade. I just started out on the scene about 2 years ago doing it in the open mics. And it just, it's like my air. It's like my breath of fresh air, dealing with life. So I'm a nurse, I'm a mother, but just walking into that on the stage and being in front of that mic, it just gives me that breath of fresh air that I just can't live without. So I always come back. So that's where I'm at in my journey. And I'm just in the journey of setting new goals. So right now, I just want to touch as many stages as I can in different states. I just want to see myself grow. I want to see myself learn. So I go to different workshops and things just to absorb as much as I can, because I just love everything about poetry, but just not the form of performing. I'm a writer. I perform. The emotion of it all, the community, the poetry community is so big on connection and how loving and supportive they are. And people don't understand it, and they need to know that. They need to know that. So I'm here for it all.
Nice. You could have never told me you was 2 years in, from what I saw. Everybody doing their thing. So it's like information like that. And I was misinterpreting what you said. I thought you were saying you like everything about poetry except the performance, but no, you were saying you like all the facets. You and all that. What do you think about kind of some of the things that happen along your life? How did we get here? How did we get to poetry in 2020? Yeah. Poetry in 2022.
What do I think? It does correlate. It definitely correlate, and
Oh
it
yeah.
definitely when I used to write, so my pen name on Instagram is Poetry for My Dreams.
Mm.
And that name came about at a time when it was like my toughest time. Like life just took a direction that I didn't want it to go in, and my poetry seemed to like turn from all that roses and red and love, and like I was all that little fancy stuff back then. And it was turning from that. And I was like, yo, I want my poetry to be like for my dreams. I wanted to stay that way.
Mm. Mm.
But it was getting deep and it was getting dark and it was getting heavy. And I stopped writing for a good amount of time.
Right.
Like here and there, I write a little bit here and there, journal here and there, but I never like just kept it up as far as poetry. And then all of a sudden, hit another plateau in my life where it was just, it was a lot to deal with. And one day, a poem just stayed in my head for like 5 years. I did not want to write it. It was like disrespectful. It was just releasing all that anger and buildup and heartbreak and everything. And one day I sat at my kitchen counter and was like, I just wrote it. I just spilled it out on the pages, wrote it. And ever since then, it's just my life has transformed. Like poetry transformed for me. And I just been, that's what you'll feel in my writing. It's like different forms of my writing you'll experience, but now you're getting all that I hold within, all
Mm-hmm.
that I never expressed, all that I just dealt with on my own. Now I'm dealing with it where I'm getting it out on pen and paper. I'm getting it out in the atmosphere, but I'm also letting people know that deal with the same thing. You don't have to suffer in silence like I did. I suffered in silence a very, very long time. And I don't want that for anybody. So I'm hoping I'm a me for me in this day and age.
Let's go. I promise you, 2 years in, that's
Yeah,
poetry.
2 years.
Like you know what I mean. That's the like your life experience is your life experience, but poetry is 2 years. But like I've whatever I said and however I said it, you just covered so much of that, and I'm like, hopefully somebody caught that. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
maybe it's for sure it's somebody's time to hear the way you just said it and when you said it. You know what I mean? So I really I know I appreciate that message, and I'm sure I'm sure that's gonna get out there to other people.
And I'm so appreciative of, because I always, like back then, like 20 years ago, when I used to go to poetry scenes and stuff, I wanted to inspire to one day have the courage to get up on open mic and do something. But in this, like 2 years ago, what happened was I was going to a poetry event repeatedly for like a year or two beforehand. And the promoter was like, I know you got some fire in your notebook. I know you got some stuff you want to share. And I felt like he kind of challenged me. I'm like a person, I like a good challenge. So I felt like he challenged me a little bit. So I did it. And I'm like so grateful that he did that because that just opened a floodgate for me.
Do you want to shout them out?
It's DJ Hardcore.
Okay,
He actually does events now. He's on Instagram and Facebook. If you look up DJ Hardcore, he has an event January 25th.
nice.
He had took a break for a little bit, but now he's back at it, doing his thing. So I definitely support that.
That's fire. That's fire. No, I I I appreciate that. Like a lot. I'm trying to keep but let me put it like this. I'm so glad that most, or if not all, of your poetry journey is like all positive and love. Um, that means you're curating and creating that space. Um, because there's a cesspool out there. But the longer that you don't have to, don't run into that, the better, right? So just something as simple as that, like specifically thanking somebody and then even being willing to share their information so more people can know about it. Like that's normal for you, normal for me, honestly,
Yeah.
but like it isn't
Not
always common.
everybody does that. And I support everybody. Even if you've never done anything for me or never spoke to me, if I see a dope event or you doing something, I'm going to support that. I'm definitely going to support that. When I went to nursing school, my landlord reduced my rent and he was like, I'm in support of people bettering themselves. So
Hmm.
I embody that. Like if I see you trying to do something where you're doing your betterment of yourself, or you out here creating, or it's something that's fire, I'm supporting it. I'm going to share it. I may have never met you. I may have met you. I'm going to support all that because we need that. Like, people
Yeah.
don't get that a lot.
Right.
Like, your own family and friends don't even do that for you.
Oh, come on.
So it's big. So I definitely embody that.
All right. So when you launch your podcast, what's it gonna be called? 'Cause why am I here?
Yeah.
Like, you got this. It's crazy.
So you're not the first person. You're probably like the third or fourth person in the past few months. Like, when is your podcast coming out? So I think I'm going to actually do it. I never thought about doing a podcast. And I think it might be called Pillow Talk. So that's been on my
Pillow
mind.
talk. Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
So
I
yeah.
wasn't the first, but I was there before it started. I was there. But
Yes. Yes.
I like it. I like it. I like it. And so there you go. Like, I mean, similar there. So it's like, and isn't that beauty? Like, yeah, we have. I want to do this and this and that, and that's cool and all. But I feel like you some kind of religious guy. Be like, that's cute. All right, now here's what you're actually. Also, here's what you're actually finna do. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, yeah. So I
yeah.
definitely try to follow along with that. Like, a lot of times, people look for features and look for that. I look for things that are like goals and challenges, and that what leads me down different roads. So
Right.
open mic was a challenge. Like, I felt like he challenged me. So I'm gonna step up and do that. And then even with the Word Rehab, that kept calling to me. I'm like, oh, I was like, the cause kept calling to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that was the reason I did this submission. And
Got you.
writing like that piece that I did, like, it took me outside the box, but it really took it to a new level. So I like challenges like that. I like
Right.
challenging myself.
Right. So as the co-host, just like seamlessly get into what was next. I'm listening. I'm about to mess with you because this is amazing. We about to let's just get into that first event, or this event that we first crossed paths. So yes, different episode on the podcast, like was kind of my personal thought on it, but just a repeat for anybody that's watching this one. So Kay Love, the poet, out of Chicago, but now currently residing here. Her husband has an organization called Self-Determined Recovery. They did something last year, but similar. But this year they did a competition that involved poets and allowed those who were competing to participate in 3 rounds of just speaking on and sharing about handling and dealing with recovery and like the start, the journey, the finish type of situation. That's so beautiful because it gave poets the opportunity, it gave us the opportunity to share on on an angle that we probably, like, I wouldn't have wrote on that ever. I don't want to say ever, but yeah, I wasn't gonna write on that anytime soon without this opportunity. But it also was an opportunity to uplift those in the program, out the program, also artists, because we had a couple, other artists, and just see like, hey, the community's rocking with y'all, you know what I mean, and what you're doing, and keep that encouragement up. So it was just a wonderful situation for everybody. So now, as far as you specifically, you came across the flyer. Originally, okay, you hadn't written anything on this topic either, it sounds like.
No, for
Right.
addiction, no. I
Right.
do write a lot of pieces about perseverance, recovery from heartache and things like that, but never specifically on addiction.
Right, right, right. Okay, so you saw it, and I guess the first time you seen it, it wasn't like, oh, let me get on this, but it didn't leave your mind as far as yeah. Okay, okay. So do you remember? Um, can you can you talk anything about, okay, now I'm writing it, I'm recording it, like what you remember from like when it was still the submission period? Did you catch the first deadline? Did she keep asking for more people? Do you remember, like, where were you? Talk about that a little bit.
I think when I first came across it, I seen it and I was interested, and I was like, dang, I should enter. But I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not really big on competitions. And then I seen it again, and another poet that was in the competition from Jersey, I seen she had submitted. So I was like, oh, I was like, hey, I know she gonna kill it.
Right.
And then it came across again, and I think it was like a little past the deadline, just like slightly. Yeah, I think it was a little slightly past that first deadline, and she extended it. And it came across, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna just submit it. Like she may
Right.
not pick me, you know. And that one wasn't even on addiction. It was more of a inspirational piece as far as like recovering from heartache and being inspiring and still going forth through all like hardships and stuff. And it's like
Mhm.
a piece that's really like to my heart. So I just did that and they chose me and I'm like, oh my God.
Right. So
So I was like, what am I gonna do now?
so we're gonna fast forward to the end and then come back. What did you place at the show, by the way, for the people that weren't there?
I placed second in the competition. I
I'm sorry, this is the person that almost didn't even that almost didn't even enter. All those other people here, you know what I'm saying? And that was a very close second, by the way. So just for y'all to
They
know.
said by they told me how much it was point one. So
Jeez.
I lost by point one. I was like,
Jeez.
wow. That
Right,
like blew my mind.
right.
Blew my
2
mind
years
away.
in, and I'm so glad we're gonna talk about. But I can tell. I don't know. Maybe if you felt different that day at all, but like I feel like at this point you like look at what I did. You know what I mean? Look at what I did at the end of my second year. Like I'm 14 in, and you did amazing, and it's nothing for me to give everybody else their flowers because I'm not a competitive player. So I was just happy to also have the opportunity to go out there. But like that's amazing. Like you really almost did you
Blew
really
my
almost
mind.
didn't even
I
do it.
didn't even like prepare for the third round. I did for because I was like, I want to be prepared. I want to do a good job. It's a worthy cause, so I really want to go out there and do it justice. So I prepared the first two pieces. I was like, at least let me make it to the second round.
All
And
right.
when we were driving up, me and my girlfriend Naima, she my
Yeah.
rider,
Shout out
and
Naima.
always she was like, "Yo, your pen be penning. Stop putting your pen down."
Right.
And she was like, "What are you doing for your third round?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I thought, I make it to this both for the second round and that'd be it." And she was like, "I don't count yourself out, girl. Let's pick that third piece. Let's pick that third piece." And we was working on it on the way up. And I'm like, it really, she was like, "I told you."
Right. 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 Oh my God. I love hearing this story, from a different angle. But yeah, shout out Naima. I'm familiar. She came up and talked to me, as well as all y'all did. So yeah, that's dope that she was, giving us prop, but giving you that encouragement along the way.
And I wanted her to enter. And she was like,
Yeah,
"No, this is your time to shine." Like, I was like, it's for the cause. Like, I'm not worried about like winning or anything like that.
sure.
It's for the cause. So I wanted her to enter. So she was like, next year she's gonna enter. So I'm
Right.
definitely gonna enter. So it's
There you
gonna
go.
be even more amazing next year.
Oh my goodness, right. We'll for sure. We'll get to that. So yeah, that's this I'm loving this story. I'm sorry, y'all. so 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 yeah, first talk to me about that. I was trying I did not have it memorized then. What was your process? Because you got the first two because you work, you went at them. You know what I mean? So that's something I can like. What is your memorization process, or even what is your writing process? A little bit.
My writing process, yo, once I sat down at my counter and wrote that one piece that I kept holding in, it's been like a floodgate. Like that piece is just like something comes to me and I feel passionate about it and I just gotta like start writing it down.
All right, pardon me
So
real
I was
quick. So the first piece that you wrote was which round in the competition?
the first piece
Yeah,
for the first round, you mean?
yeah, yeah. No,
For
no.
that first,
I'm sorry. Let me ask the piece that you're saying started it off in the floodgate and all that. Which round? Like which one of them?
I actually didn't do that there.
Oh my God.
It's a piece. It's a piece titled "Dear Nigga Locked Up State," and the reason I didn't want to write that is because I've never um called or condoned a female calling or anybody else calling a black male nigga. But that piece, the way it came out was like it had to be written nigga, like dear nigga locked up state. It was a passionate piece, and I didn't want to write it. I felt like it was disrespectful. It was regards to my husband at the time. So that's why I resisted so much in writing it. But I wrote it a few months after the last time we had a relationship. You have breakups after breakup. So it was like a few months after we had like our last breakup. Like I felt like that was it. And I just sat there and wrote it, and it's been floodgates ever since. Like literally I'm writing pieces randomly all the time. So much so I gotta record some of it or write little pieces down or put it in my notes. But I did start the process where I'm actually in a writing group. I've been in a writing group since probably like June. And it's like twice a week. It's TNT Write Night. It's on Zoom with Miss Marquita Wright. And I've been doing that with her, just practicing being intentional about my writing. Like, yes, it comes and I can write it and it's a flow, but I also want to be intentional about what I write as well. To make an impact. I think everybody wants to make an impact. So I try to be intentional about that. So I've been practicing that skill.
Nice. First, shout out to that writing group. Let me just take time. Black Chakra, that's the one that I'm on consistently, but Ephraim Nehemiah and Goddess Tamani Rain also run some workshops. So I mean, like, that's 4 right there for anybody, you know what I'm saying, that I'm sure is all are welcoming. You know what I mean? Whatever works for you, or you kind of learn from all 4 of them people. Definitely encourage y'all, like, it's right there. You know what I mean? You're trying to get, and again, like, all of what I like about ours is like there are a lot of people who have already featured, travel a lot, been doing their thing for a while, but they're humble enough to be like, but what else? How else more can I take that? So for you to already be there is very impressive. So you spoke on how, the writing and how these poems were coming to you, and you even mentioned a little bit talking about the piece, but like those 3 or those 2 pieces, like, what do you remember? How did you go about to be like, okay, I got these 2, and this event, I got these 2 ready.
So they had like where the first piece was supposed to be introduction, the next piece addiction, and then the last piece recovery.
Right.
So I knew for a fact I had to write one for addiction. And I was a little afraid for that one because I'm like, my experiences with addiction that I've seen. I worked as a drug and alcohol rehab nurse for like 4 years. So I've seen that side of it. I've never experienced addiction myself. I just experienced it as a nurse and what they've been through. And then what I drew from the piece that I wrote was actually not from that piece where it was in the recovery house for that. It drew from the piece of my experiences as a young girl with family members that I felt like may have had addiction but were undiagnosed from it. So what I seen, it took you through the story of what I seen as a young girl, that things that could have been addiction, but we felt like at that time it was nothing wrong with it. At that time, we didn't notice it was addiction until it started to affect our homes. The 80s babies, in foster care, and our grandparents raising their babies. Like, that's where my story was at. Like them lines in there are true, authentic stuff in there. Right. And they are experiences. And the more I do those pieces, and when I did that piece for the first time there. Like, I practiced it. I did the memorization. But I did the first piece. When I did it there, it was emotional for me. It took me on a personal journey. And I think that's what they felt. Like, when I got to a part in there, I felt all that. And I think everybody felt that because that was authentic.
Yeah. So
that was the writing process for that second piece that we had to do for addiction. For introduction, I do an introduction piece. So that first part, I've already done 1 million times, but I added to that because I have 2 pieces where it's an introduction piece, like, oh, you get to meet the little fun, loving part of me. And then I have another introduction piece where let me introduce you to the broken me, struggling me, where I'm popping my shit. I know you fucking with me. So I intertwined them. those two.
Right.
And that's how I ran that piece.
Nice.
So that was my process. So the introduction piece, I already had that memorized because I did it a million times. And I didn't even go to memorize that. I just kept doing it at open mics and it just was in there.
Been there. Okay.
And then the second part, I just did memorization. And what I do is I just run it all the time. I be in my car, I'm in the house, I'm just running it like it's a song, just running it, just kept running it. And then I break it down in paragraphs, each paragraph. So if I lose my spot, I'm going to go back to that beginning paragraph and run it again, or go to the next paragraph. Sometimes I leave a chunk of a paragraph out and just run to the next one if I can't get that one out.
All right. So when you're starting your writing workshop, like this is, like, I know you got the podcast that you're about to start, but this is like that I love that. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta like who are influenced. I mean, you hit the ground running, but that means you've been, and even if it's not poetry, like you've been setting, it's been building, it's been, you've been planting the seeds, and now this is everybody else is seeing what you've been put working. And you said you went to open mic 20 years ago. So like who are some of the people that, you've seen like, yeah, I'm gonna do
influencers. My influencers for poetry, definitely my influence, Maya Angelou, Langston Hughes, all those people, Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, like Edgar Allan Poe. They were a lot of the people. Edgar Allan Poe really that emotion in there with Telltale Heart, that really like made me fall in love with poetry. My influences today, it's all across the board. It's like not just poetry, but it's like rap and music. Like I'm so into music. Like Kevin Hart, like I can listen to him and I'm like, yo, he be inspiring me to write. Like I can listen to him and get in the zone and then sit down and write some stuff.
Right.
Like, so I'm like all over the place. Just different experiences and stuff. It's so much things that influence me in this poetry world.
It's so good. Like that's so good because like why stop? I mean, it's amazing in poetry, but why stop there? Why not watch comedy, pull something from that? Why not watch a movie? I mean, we all watch movies and do our, do the pop culture references, but like there's lessons in there, go to a church service, like somebody just said something like
yes. I pull from everything.
Yeah.
I pull from everything inspires me. Yep. Like I literally do.
Yeah, I just seen that from the time of this recording. Obi West, it just made a post like that himself. He was also like, yeah, how do I write? I live. I live and I pay attention and these things come to me. So it's like, I hope, people that, I hope, some of us remember that. And I hope the people that are getting ready to get in to poetry soon, I hope that hits them, day one. It doesn't take a long time. They didn't take as long as it took me to, to get in or whatever.
Life experience, yes, definitely life experiences, and you're not gonna get that unless you go out into the world. Like you.
So where we bouncing from here? So what? Okay, what? You kind of mentioned it already, but like, how would you describe what that event did that night? I know what I saw, but I'm like, she's here. Let me let her ask. And then since then, what has that event kind of done for, you poetically?
Ooh. So that event for me actually showed me I'm where I need to be. And I'm following the journey where I need to go. Because I think what we do is we question our journey sometimes. And a lot of times I was questioning it. Like I literally go to open mics. I literally write poetry. I just was saying it in the a workshop today. I was like, I do it because I need to breathe. Like life is heavy. Life hasn't been the way I wanted it to be. It had just good moments and life is good to me, but sometimes it gets heavy, and poetry and being on the open mic helps me to breathe. It gives me that space for me. I kind of lost my train of thought.
You good. No, that was
where we were at.
Yeah.
What was the question
So
again?
it was dang, what was I just got
Yeah,
lost in the what oh
right.
yeah, what did the event do for you that night, and what did the
Okay.
event do for you since a couple of since then?
Okay. So what it did since then, after it showed me where I'm on the journey that I need to be,
Right.
I'm where I'm supposed to be. I was supposed to be there. What it's done since is teach me that continue to keep learning, continue to keep growing, stay in the space that I'm in because I'm on the right path that I need to be in. Since that event, I've actually continuously kept seeing double digits, triple digits, and like 444, 111, 222, or 222. And they say when you see those, the angels are telling you you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing. So going forth, that's what I have right now. So
Hmm.
it's just teaching me to keep going, like don't give up. And one of the things that in the poetry scene for the past year, because I've been more prevalent at the open mics. Before I was only doing DJ Hardcore's open mics. That was the only one I knew. And I
Hmm.
would just go there every month. This past year, somebody I went to school with and that's a friend, she challenged me to do curate event. And I did an event and I did like 3 different events, but I did my first event. And from that event, of course, you got to promote your event. So from there, that's how I got connected in the poetry circle. I was promoting my event, but then I wound up just being captured in the community and with the people and everything. So this year has been like an amazing journey. And for it to come to the end of the year and do that competition, it just showed me that I have more room to grow. So what are my next goals? And my next goals are like going to different states, going to different open mics because I've been in the Philly open mics this year. So it's like if you're going to continue to grow, you need to continue to learn different styles from different states and enter competitions or things you're passionate about. So it's like a learning phase for me now that I've done that.
That's amazing. And I need to stay out your way for real because the angels got you. You already on the right path. The only thing I say for you, try to get early is, and as you learn, because it's never stop being a student, but don't lose your message, your style. So just learn, see other people, observe other stuff, but it's never, all right, now I need to switch up. You're on the right path. Like this, you already told
And
you the story.
the crazy thing is before I did the competition, I kind of felt like that because I kind of felt, being in the Philly scene, everybody's so amazing. So you like, oh, do I need to do more of that or do I need to do more of that? And the reason I started doing different things and learning different things and doing a competition and stuff is because I like to stay authentic to myself. So the universe was telling me like, no, you need to keep doing what you're doing, keep on the road that you're on. So I feel like Michael Jackson a little bit. If you ever notice Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, and even Beyonce sometimes, they learn different skills and different forms of the artistry and they incorporate it in what they're already doing. Like Michael Jackson, a lot of the things he did, he was amazing. But if you notice, it was different artists, different people that he saturated himself with that incorporated in his greatness with
Right,
it. So
right.
that's what I want. Like that's what I take out of like I'm in a performance workshop and I even got feedback as far as like the piece that I did at the competition. They was like in the beginning, you need to give more emotion, you need to and I was like, okay, I'm taking that in. But when I did my piece, I started there, but it went like a roller coaster. It went up fast real quick. And y'all was like, oh, what the hell is going
Right.
on?
Right. I understand, but what I hate for me.
It's right
Oh, sorry.
doing. No, go ahead.
Okay, excuse me. Yeah, pardon me. What I hate for me is like, I, again, didn't even have stuff memorized, but I was originally there as a performer. So I didn't really just get to sit and hear everything, right? Like we still in the back, like, okay, and let me get my last thing, but okay, this person just did it, and the next person is probably amazing too. So I yeah, it's also I gotta be, unfortunately, it's like pieces I remember, of all y'all. I remembered you at second. I wanted to make sure we mentioned that after you did, was being all that modest. But it would have been great to have this experience as a fan. And even though, people were a little quiet, but that's cool. I know somebody got something out of it just sitting there, not writing 3 poems, not doing a whole bunch of practice memorization, just to see the 9 of us, I believe it was 9, that gave our 100%, and to see what that levels look like, what 100% look like from each person. So that's also amazing. And it's that's my next personally, is like I gotta figure out how to perform. All y'all was, I know I can write, I know I can get the words out, but yeah, my performance is that's just who I am. But like, that's not gonna work in certain venues. It's gonna work in a lot of places, but it's not gonna work. So it's like, while y'all are already here and tweaking, I have a further longer way to go, and that's cool. I accept that challenge. I'm listening to somebody like you that's like, shoot, I can't wait to see what I'm saying, what I grow, what I learn in 2025. And I'm like, why should that person be more hungry than me? Why are we not, shouldn't we all be, trying to grow? So, I'm so glad I had this conversation, but
I'll be giving them nuggets sometimes. I be giving them nuggets. I like to pass them along. Once I get them, I pass them along. I'm not a gatekeeper of nuggets.
Sometimes I don't. Yeah, I know that. I know you trolling with that. Yeah, no, you like, yeah, this 2025 podcast gonna be fire. We need to hear it. I'm in that group with whoever else has been pushing it. Like, yeah, we need that for sure. So, all right, I know I was like, okay, what has that done since? I know you said 2025 is about traveling. I feel like it's possible, just the general what's next. You might have already covered it, but is there, like, how about, is a book in your immediate future thought?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So I've written so much, because I told you I was in the writing group, and even just pouring out. So I've written so much, and I've been asked about a book quite a few times, and I'm like, you know what? I have enough for a book now. So I'm in the process of working on that, gathering information on how to formulate a book, and actually the poems that will go in the book. So the title of the book, I haven't disclosed to anybody, but I will disclose it to you. You got the exclusive.
Right.
The title of my book will be Grief After Love.
Ooh.
Yeah. So heavy, but it's very it'll be very giving. I'll give you that. It'll be very giving.
Yeah. Am I cloning you like that? Yeah, my 2024 was wild too. So like, that's what next year. So it's crazy. Like, I'm crazy. Just, I'm looking forward to that. Do you feel like, just kind of, again, we got our plans, and then guys gonna be like, yeah, that's what's up. But in your mind, I don't want to release that, because then it feel like you owe, she said she was gonna, but like, do you feel like this is something, like, pieces are already set and you good to go? Do you feel like you have a decent number, and maybe, later in next year, or even 2 years from now, like, where are you at as right now, as far as what you feel like progress of the book is?
So I have the pieces. I would say the formation of the pieces. So I would say I'm hoping in the next few months. That's my goal. If it doesn't happen in the next few months, I'm okay with that. I'm one of those people, I set goals for myself, and I'll say I'll do it. And people are like, oh, she said she's going to do this. And that's how I was in buying a home. For like 19 years, I was like, I'm buying my own home. I'm buying my own home. And I seen in one of my friends' eyes was like, yo, you've been saying that forever. And the reason for that is because I kept saying it, but I also was in the process of doing everything I needed to do. And God executed at the time for me to buy my home. Like, I was ready I probably a year or two beforehand, that I actually bought my home, I had everything in place. And like I did all the steps, had everything in place. We were looking at homes, and life shit happened. It like literally happened and took me back. And the guy was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to wait another 6 months." I was devastated because I had chosen a house that I wanted.
Right.
And I went to sleep that night and I cried myself to sleep. And in my dreams, God told me, He said, "I got something better for you."
Right.
And I'm in the home that I wound up buying a house that was the house of my dreams. Like it had everything that I wanted, like everything. So sometimes the process of doing something, we have a time frame we want to do it, but something might be better. But in my frame of thought, the next few months, my book gonna be out.
Okay.
So I set that goal.
Right.
God might have other plans.
Right.
But there's gonna be a book.
Right. Okay. So you're not the type like you like. All right. No, I don't mind throwing this out. If it doesn't happen, I'm gonna be all right. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen. However, I'm with you. I love it. I feel like one of the last things, and again, it'll be kind of, you repeating, but a summary. So how have you, whether it's been the 2 years or the upcoming, like, how has you jumping into, finally taking a step in poetry and doing everything that you're contributing, but like, how has that benefited you personally as far as the other pieces of your life?
The way it benefits me is a lot of the people that have known me for years never heard me like speak up and say a lot of the things that I do in my writing. So my writing is a form of releasing, expressing myself, which I've never done. Like as a child, I've never spoke up about something. I might go with the flow. I don't cause waves and stuff like that. So my poetry there is my form of setting my boundaries and standing on business and standing my ground. So that the way it bleeds over into my lifestyle is teaching me that, hey, I can set boundaries. I can speak up for myself. I can express my feelings, and my feelings are valid. They are valid in the moment, and they are my feelings. So that bleeds over into my life, which I never had. It's just always been where I've been that person, like, I'm going to go with the flow. I'm not going to cause waves. I'm not going to, like, a lot of things don't need to be said, I still feel that way. I still feel like everything doesn't need to be said. Everything doesn't need to be addressed. Everything doesn't need to be dramatic. But it teaches me for myself to stand up for myself,
right?
To show up for myself. Like I can show up for everybody else, which I've always done, but I've never showed up for myself. So in this life frame, that has taught me that I'm worthy of showing up for myself, standing up for myself, and speaking my boundaries.
Right. Amazing. And my last bring it back to me, but the one thing we differ is I'm on the Kendrick. Sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas, but I appreciate that, you're at that same fork in the road and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, nah, I'll let you, like, you'll get yours. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be the one to do all of it. Like, things are going to move how they move. That person that's treating you one way, like, life will happen. Let me get out the way, handle my dreams, work on what I'm, focused on. So I definitely respect that, even if, and it's perfectly okay that, like, we are at different points in our life and doing different journeys. So, like, for you it's let me chill, and for me it's like, here's what I had. Here's what I was thinking.
I'm still learning to do that, though. Yeah. I'm still learning to be outspoken, like, hey, it's not cool, or hey, this is how it is, or this is how I feel about it, or hey, I'm not going to accept this bare minimum. I'm in that process of learning. Like, a lot of people been there, but I'm in that process of learning to do that.
And that's fine, but what you also did for yourself is, like, and you've been doing it, you're building community. So we don't always have to, not only do we not have to fight it because of God and because of angels, you don't have to fight it because you in the Be More community now, and we not playing about. So you actually, right, you just, a lot of times you ain't got to do a thing, and now you got, you know what I mean, you got the squad like, oh, hey, sorry for you. I don't know
I
where you
felt that,
started.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I
I
felt
feel
that,
like
yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you
No,
wanted
I
to.
said I felt that.
Oh,
I definitely felt that.
good. No, and that was I just somebody else yesterday from the recording just had a similar situation, so that was in me to share. But I at this point I'm being greedy because you like this is a lot of this is information for your podcast, right? So really just I don't know if you got any any one more gem you want to hit folks off with, and then we can then we can wrap this up, not because I want to, but like I'm still in you're giving me gems, but this is for your podcast, like
Another gem.
if you
What do
got
I
if you
have?
I mean you listen, you did it. No, I just want to make sure I didn't take like you don't have to say nothing but if you want to, I just want to leave you the floor for whatever.
I don't really have much else. Only thing I will say is, after the pandemic, well, it still was a pandemic for me, but after like with COVID and stuff, I had got COVID at work. Like I
Mm,
literally was, you work in nursing and everything. So
mm,
I wasn't, I was doing everything I was supposed to do, and still wound up catching COVID in October of 2020. And it was like a few months after me and my ex broke up and he left. Um, from there, it just taught me, like after I got better, because I felt like crap.
right, right.
When I got better and everybody was like, "How you feel?" And I was like, "I feel great. I feel like I got another chance at life." Because I will say in my head, I was like, I thought I was going to check out a little bit, and I was preparing my son, and he was like, "Mom, stop talking like that." But I was preparing him, and like when I was able to get better and breathe again, I was like, yo, I'm gonna take life by the horns and I'm gonna ride the hell out of it. I'm gonna live life to the fullest. And that's what the nugget I want to give to everybody else. Stop living small. Try the things you want to do. Like live life. Like for real. Like life gives us those hard moments and feel like, oh, we gotta work, we gotta do this, we gotta do that. Like all the stuff we gotta do. If we gotta do it, then do something you want to do.
Mm.
If it's just one thing, and people will put you down for it. People will say, "Oh, you not being realistic," or "You this." Like, why can't we? Why can't we? They feel like when we're in our young or when our youth, that's when the time for you to try things. But when do you get those things? Because after you graduate, they tell you got to work, you got to go to school, you got to get a degree, you got to do this, and then what happens? You get the bills, and you got to pay for the bills, you got to take care of the kids. So you got to make time for yourself. You got to like take that block and do things that you want to inspire to do. You want to travel, you want to write, you want to take a dance class, you want to learn some salsa, do it. Why not? Try it. That's all I got.
That's
I
all.
appreciate your time.
Right, that's all I got. All I got is let me sit back and listen. So one more time, the pillow. What's it gonna be?
Pillow Talk
Pillow.
is
Okay,
gonna be a
pillow talk.
podcast. Yeah,
Pillow
Pillow
talk.
Talk.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me on your platform and and really just spending this last time just trying like, oh my God, this is the season finale. Like I I
Yeah.
didn't know this was gonna happen, but this has been crazy. And I am not like I don't I think I just know I'm being very, very serious when I say this. Like you definitely have a message and a gift. And it's not it didn't it didn't start at last month. It's not gonna stop there. I'm glad you know that. I'm super excited for what I see from what you got going forward. But I'll just, yeah.
I'm very appreciative. And if you will, I don't know if you noticed, but in the competition, I was last each and every time.
I didn't.
My,
Okay, okay.
yeah, each and
I
every
do remember
time.
you was last in the finals, but the other no, the other. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, the first and second time and the third, I was last. Like
Wow,
they were drawing names, and I was last each and every time.
wow.
But even when you're last, you can still be first.
All right, man. All right, man. All right. Listen, Miss Eminem, I really appreciate your time. I really do. And yes, once again, I'm repeating myself. Looking forward to what you have for us. But this was another episode of the SmartDumb Podcast. I gotta stop talking. Y'all listen to her, man.
All right, take care.
Yeah.